What's up? Oh, you got a little World Cup jersey? Got a little soccer jersey?
I do.
You excited for that next year?
Yeah.
You excited?
Yeah, I just watch it on TV.
Well, I don't know if the tickets are available yet, but regardless, then they're going to be insane.
And then they decide when you can buy tickets.
Yeah, that's crazy. They're just
Me and my uncle and his wife were trying to get tickets to go to a game, but
It says like register your interest.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a whole
I'm like,
thing,
I don't
so.
even care about seeing like the top. Like, you just get me in the building.
like I just want
But
to be in the parking
they're being played all across North
That's
America.
what I'm saying.
So
But the other ones are it's at SoFi, right?
we do have a couple at SoFi World Cups next year, but it's a fantastic stadium. I don't understand.
So far, it is the farthest thing like on Timbuktu. Like, it is so far. I hate driving there.
Far, but
Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh, it's so like you think you're almost there, and then you're like, oh, you got 40 more minutes.
But it's a stadium. For someone that used to go to like stadium games, traffic is always terrible on a game day. I don't understand.
What do you mean stadium games? What did I do?
Like in college, when you would go to stadium football games, there wasn't bad traffic going to the stadium.
No, we tailgate and walk by foot, or took our scooters. No, never.
For everyone else that wasn't on a dorm on campus, were they not experiencing a hassle to get into it?
No, because you haven't been to my campus yet in the 10, 12 years that we've been. Oh,
I've never been invited.
Oh, hush your mouth.
I've never been invited.
Oh, anyways, sir.
Never been invited.
Be quiet. I have asked, let's go. No. Anyways, no,
sent me
because
dates?
everywhere in
bought
Gainesville, this college is in Gainesville, and it is a city called Gainesville around it. So it's
Yes.
so
Okay.
there's people that live around it. Yeah, I don't.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's not tailgating that day is really not that bad because there's not much to
But,
tailgate.
okay, Ashley, use your head.
Yeah,
you've never even tailgating at SoFi, you'll be there earlier. It's
No,
not
I'm
bad
saying-
traffic. It's like you can't compare. You got to compare apples to apples. You can't be
no,
like,
I'm-
I never experienced traffic because I went 4 hours early.
No, I'm saying
at this thing.
no.
But yeah, at
I'm
SoFi.
saying it takes such a long drive from our house to SoFi.
But you can't say you hate the stadium. You could say,
No,
I hate the drive. You're like,
I hate to drive
that
to the
stadium.
stadium.
I
No,
mean,
it's a
one of the
nice
most
stadium.
gorgeous stadiums in the world.
Where the stadium's located.
There you go. Okay, well, I mean that's a completely different thing. You can't say, I hate that stadium.
No, it's nice. It's cool. Florida's is better, but
It's got like 10K LED walls across the entire thing.
you know,
lighting and
we've
all that
had
stuff.
those conversations about being in a stadium, about a basketball stadium and a football stadium. The farther away in a football game, I feel like you pay more attention. The closer you are in a football game, I feel like you're more distracted.
For sure. And
the farther away you are in a basketball game, you're more distracted. The closer you are to the court, you're more engaged. If
True.
that makes sense.
Yep.
We did. We sat literally almost on the goal line on a football field, and we are sitting there, and I'm literally, the game is being played, and you and I are literally looking at everyone below us because there's the people that are below us on the field.
like the coaching staff.
And then you have the
players.
VIP, like little sections. Girl, I was in everybody's phone. They were on phone. This guy was on Tinder and he was swiping. I was like, dang, look at him.
Yeah.
Didn't pay attention to not a lick of the game. But then we sat further back with some friends and I'm like, all you can do is look at the game because everyone else around you is watching the game.
Yeah.
When you're up close. But then when you're up close at a basketball game, it's right there in your face and you're like, oh, this is exciting. But at a basketball game far away, girl.
I think this is God ordained with the limited time that we have today.
Oh, what happened? Well, I'm going to tell you one thing.
You're supposed to be at a meeting and you're late. You're
I know.
supposed to be at a meeting at 2, so
I know.
you came into
this
this
is
late.
God ordained too. Your son is a bully in the sweetest, kindest way. So I'm going to tell the viewers, this is probably how my husband talks to me at home, and I don't even realize it. So your son is walking through the courtyard today, and we're setting up clothes and stuff like that. And all I hear, he doesn't even like get my attention. He's walking back to the classroom, and he's like, Mommy, I'm walking back to my class, so you better come over and give me a kiss before I leave. was like, what?
Sounds about
You better
right.
come give me kisses. And Gabe goes, we know how Pastor Adam talks to you, apparently. I was like, give me kisses now. And I'm like,
Get over here, love me.
love me, literally. But Gabe was like, it was so sweet because, and I was heart checked in 2 seconds. I was like, dang, he was aggressive. He's like, but isn't that really sweet that your son still wants that from you? Because then the day is going to come and he's not. Then I'm going to run up and tell him to do it.
Yeah.
Anyways, then he always talks to me like that. Watch your tone at home.
No, if you, to me,
Stop being bossy.
all I heard was sincerity in what he did. I wouldn't change a thing. Did he get kisses?
Of course. And he got picked up.
Okay, so he got what he was looking for from
But
it.
because I heard it and I was like, that's my son's voice. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, he's talking to
See?
me.
You don't even know what the topic is, and
I know.
and it is God ordained because of 2 reasons.
That's
Number
why
one,
we're one.
let me finish. Number one, you said you hate that stadium, which was a wrong choice of words, and you made a great stadium sound really bad until you said and clarified 5 minutes later, oh, no, the stadium's fine. I don't like the drive. Okay, well, that would have solved a lot of confusion earlier. And then you said your son, he had very passionate, expressive requirements for a kiss. And he said, come give me a kiss. And you said the words. You said, oh, the words he used, blah, 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 blah. So I've gotten some DMs, some requests from people that say, hey, can you talk about a little bit about how healthy marriages and couples should talk to each other and communicate with each other? And because people at times don't feel like their spouse is talking to them with respect or talking at them. Or, you and I have done so much counseling over the years. Spouses know exactly how they're talking to their spouse, but they want them to hurt, in the way that they're hurting. And the only way they can do that is by their words, cutting them up, and making them feel the pain and hoping that they get a rise out of them. What we found over the years counseling couples is the spouse that is the most emotionally subdued is the spouse who gets usually attacked the most, because what the spouse that is strong with their words, overly emotional, uses their words critically, they keep ramping it up, hoping that they can get that spouse that is emotionally stable to break, and that's all they want, And so they just keep hitting it. They just keep hitting it. They just keep hitting it until the spouse breaks, and they're like, "Are you happy now?" And truthfully, they are. They are happy now.
Yeah.
Because to them, oh, you have feelings. You had, So now I got a rise out of you. I'm making you feel the way that I feel now, frustrated like I feel. Even though that person they just don't always feel like they express it, the way that they want. So, people have asked, hey, have some conversations around, proper kind of speech etiquette that a marriage should have. Why are you laughing at that?
I'm not.
You're like smiling at that.
Because ours is very unconventional.
I mean, it's unconventional, but it's pretty conventional at the same time.
Yeah.
You and I don't yell at each other.
No, but we correct each other and be like, yeah,
Sure.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, okay. But we hold each other accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
then we
don't-
allow it, but yeah, so we do, it's unconventional in a sense because we don't ever go into a conversation looking to get in an argument. Or I wouldn't say I don't ever, but majority of the time when we're having a conversation of something like a disagreement or something that we were deciding to do, I'm not looking at how to have a conversation on how to win. I'm not going into our conversation on how do I win in this conversation of this disagreement or this argument.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, right.
All I want to do, and I feel like if I win, is if you not agree with me, but if you're listening to me and you hear me and you understand what I said. So Pastor Sammy said it the other day, which I thought was great, and I would never use this in my marriage, but it was great teaching on a leadership standpoint. But sometimes I think it does need to be reiterated because we do tell our kids the same thing. Repeat to me what I said, or did you tell me what I just said? Because I may have said it to you. So what? Just exact prime example. What I said to you, I knew what I was saying in my head was like, I don't like going to the stadium because the drive is so far. But the way I worded it was, I hate that stadium.
Yeah. Right.
But in my head, I and Adam always says, I can't read your mind. So what you said is what I heard.
Correct.
So then anytime that I say what I meant to say, you go, yeah, but you didn't say that. And I'm like, I know, but that's what I meant to say because I thought it and that's what I said. And you're like, yeah, now it makes sense.
Right.
And then as you saw, I get emotional, I get wound up because I'm like, are you hearing me? And he's like, yeah, no, I heard what you said the first time. That didn't make sense. But now when you said what you clarified and actually said what you really wanted to say, it makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, Adam doesn't come back and was like, that doesn't make sense. You come back with the well, just like you said, well, it's a gorgeous stadium. Why would you say that? And I'm like, I didn't say it was a terrible stadium. And then that's why I had to re-clarify. So you ask questions or you play on to what I said. It's not like you don't ever be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, you're so stupid.
You're so stupid. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
That's the dumbest thing ever. They just spent $14 billion on this, da-da-da-da-da. How could it be the worst? You're like, what are you... So you're telling me. So then you went into a different argument as far as like, not argument, a different conversation of like, so you never did experience tailgating. And then I came back, I was like, oh, that's not even what I'm talking about or what I meant. And I meant the drive is far.
Right.
So you, Adam, because he isn't, he I don't ever expect Adam to meet my level of octave, of voice, of passion, of... Because what I talk about doesn't excite my husband in those kind of ways to be as passionate about it. Like if we were to get in a disagreement about the kids, that's where the passion would take place. But when it's these little things like this, I think that's where a lot of people get misconstrued and can get anger, because in that moment I could have got upset with you and been like, you're not listening to me. You didn't understand me, so I'm mad that you didn't understand me. It's on you.
Yeah. Right.
We're looking for something to be mad at. And I think we have to...
Yeah, and just not being heard is not a good enough reason to escalate the conversation. You know, number one, if it's a meaningless conversation, well, what are we getting upset about anyway?
Right.
You know, like in the Mesa family, we debate everything.
Yeah.
We don't agree on anything the first time just to be able to argue, to be able to debate. Where your family's not necessarily that way. Your family's much more passive, a little bit more like is critical, but kind of confronting. Yeah. But your dad was confronting, and so that's kind of where you have got it from in that sense. And so, there is a lot of words that often start and get exchanged because of just petty conversations. Like, oh, look, that's a beautiful red car. It's like, well, that's not a red car. That's a burgundy car. And then, one of them goes, oh, shut up. That's what red is. And then it goes, and then it starts escalating. And then it's like, well, all I'm saying is it's not a red car. You would look, I'm not saying you and I are having this conversation. I'm just saying couples that don't communicate well, they're like, I just don't want you to look stupid around somebody and call it red when it's really not. It's really burgundy. And then it snowballs into this whole evening now of closing off from one another because you were having a conversation about a red car, or you and I have done counseling and other conversations where the amount of anger that just comes from having a petty talk, oh, well, it'll be as simple as this. It'll be like, okay, doing a counseling and, she falls asleep first. And so normally I'm awake a little bit. I don't fall asleep first. Did I fall asleep yesterday first? You fell asleep first yesterday. And then they're like, yeah, well, I did last night. But what I'm trying to say, he was asking us, what does our night routine look like regularly. And so what I was saying was regularly you fall, but not every time. Wait a minute. And then it's like, and then I sit there, I'm like, okay, hold on. Let's let one person speak at a time. You can disagree after. And then it's a very small question, you know, in counseling, you know, sometimes I want to know, hey, what are your routines like? What do you know, depending on what issue we're dealing with, right? You know, so it's like, hey, can you get some time in the evening? What does your evening look like? And then just a small answer, you know, or the husband, he'll shut down because the wife said, well, he just comes home and he sits down and he gets on the couch, you know, and then he shuts it. Well, that, you know, that's not true. I don't only do that. And then it's like, well, but do you do that every day?
Yeah.
You know, well, yeah, I do it every day, but I don't do that first. I come in and and it's like, okay, guys, come on. Like you're getting passionate about petty, you know, like let's get to the heart of the matter. Let's get past language. Let's get, I'm messing with you about the stadium, but like at home, if you were like, oh, I hate SoFi Stadium, I wouldn't correct you on that at home or whatever. I would have just been like, this girl's crazy. Like we go to SoFi like at least once every other couple months. Like she clearly doesn't hate it enough that we find ourselves there for so much stuff, like, so it just, I would have just rolled my eyes and been like, she's nuts, but podcast is a little different. I try to stir the pot on the podcast.
And when it comes to you and I, and just in our marriage and what you and I try to do, even in just speaking into life and speaking into other marriages, is we always try to encourage each spouse to be content with themselves as well. So like, as far as when you and I have conversations and everything like that, and if I were to be wrong, take it on the chin. You can be wrong.
Yeah.
It doesn't make your husband downplay you. It doesn't make him look less. It doesn't make you think you're stupid. Doesn't make him. If you were wrong in a conversation, admit that. There's more respect that you have for me if you were like, hey, Ashlee, you told me that work is on Monday and that you were content with it being on Monday. Why do you have an attitude with me tonight? Well, because you were gone all day and I did have to deal with the kids, but you told me on the front end that you were okay with me going to work on a Monday, even though it's our off day.
Yeah.
So are you or are you not? Because you have to now have this conversation of you were fine. There's no room for pettiness when you said you were okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like.
And me being able to say, you're right. I did say that. Yeah.
Or something like, you like, hey, you told my mom you were going to stop by and help them with this. Like, my mom told me you didn't come, you didn't help, or vice versa with you. You're like, hey, my family's got this going on. Are you coming? And what I know that means is right now my yes has to be my yes. I can't all of a sudden day before be like, Ashlee, you know what? I was going to go to your mom's and your family was going to be there, but I'm not going to go. I'm tired. Right. You'd be like, hey, I'm not okay with that. Right. And so what happens is if we don't structure our communication well, then your relationship and your marriage often follow your words, And I got this one of the tattoos I have on my forearm is a lion, and then his mane is an ocean wave with a boat in it. And the reason why I got that was because, and I know the simple verse memorized, but I wanted to read the whole thing, is because I have a lot of passion. I get really passionate about things. We actually just did a Beyond the Letter episode with Aaron and Heron about words and affirmed. The text Aaron sent us about like feedback to him. Yeah. We did that to each other like live. So it was all about like words and how much words can benefit you, but also can tear you down. And so I got this. I got the lion because it was okay. I want to be bold like a lion. I want to. I don't want to. Cower out of things. I want to have boldness. I want to have strength. But I put the boat with the ocean in the mane because passion and boldness can be like it could be misunderstood as arrogance or pride or whatever this. And the way that gets misunderstood is not through your actions, tends to be through your words. How you come off. Are you abrasive? Do you shoot people down? Are you negative? Are you condescending? Are you judgmental? And so I got that boat because one of a verse that's really passionate about me is James 3:4, and it says, "Look at the ships also, though they are so large, are driven by strong winds. They are guided by a very small rudder, wherever the will of the pilot directs it. So as the tongue is a small member, yet it boasts great things. How great a forest is set ablaze by such a small fire. And the tongue is a fire, a world of unrighteousness. The tongue is set among our members, staining the whole body, setting on fire the entire course of one's life, and set on fire by hell. For every kind of beast and bird of reptile creature can be tamed and has been tamed by mankind. But no human can tame the tongue. It is restless and evil and full of deadly poison. With it, it can bless our Lord, and with it can curse people who are made in the likeness of God. From the same mouth comes blessings and cursings. My brothers, these things not ought to be so. Does a spring forth from the same opening both fresh and salt water? Can a fig tree, my brothers, bear olives, of grapevines produce figs? Neither can a salt pond fresh yield." So basically what he was saying is you got to choose. Like either you're going to have the tongue of blessing or the tongue of curse. Either you're going to have a tongue that sets things on fire or a tongue that calms, is able to navigate the oceans of life. And so believe it or not, a lot of marriages have not mastered this. Even Christian marriages have not mastered this. If you can master this, then I guarantee you can have probably over a 50% healthier marriage than whatever your marriage looks like if you can just tame your tongue. If you could figure out James 3 for yourself, not even your spouse, like just yourself. Like if you could lock in James 3, and that's one thing that, Nancy has pointed out that has thrown her off hanging out around us, because you and I speak so transparently, so honestly, so clearly. She's like, why are you not offended at each other? And the answer is because I know what your angry looks like. Mm-hmm. I know what your condescending looks like. And you know what my angry looks like. Mm-hmm. And you know what my condescending is. So me sitting in a Jeep and then you going, "Oh man, we missed the turn," or whatever. And I go, "Are you kidding me? Ashlee, get off your phone and pay attention and tell me when to make a turn." Yeah. One person may be like, "Oh shoot, that would make me cry." Like Nancy has said, like that would have made me cry. Yeah. And then it's like, but for me, I know for you, that's not me being mad or condescending. No. My mad or condescending would be using any strong language. Right, if I was, like you're idiot, or you use the stuff like you're always.
You did it the other day. I was like, we were driving, we're looking for a parking spot.
Oh yeah. And
you're like, I was like, "Oh, there's one right there." He's like, "Thank you, Ashlee. I didn't see it."
We're on a one-way street looking for a parking spot, and we're next to the open parking spot. And Ashlee's like, "Oh, there's one right here. If you didn't see it." I'm like, "Yeah, I saw it. We're on a street to park."
And that's how he said it.
I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
But him even saying that, someone would be like, "Is he angry?" I'm like, "No, I don't care. I saw it first." So I don't ever think that, and it's silly. It's a parking spot. But if I was like, "Seriously, if you don't shut up when I drive," I don't know how many times now you're why don't you just drive? Then you drive next time. I'm sick and tired of you telling me which way to go, where to park, where not to park. You don't think I have eyes that I can see? And I'd be like, "Clearly not that part."
Yeah. So we're and I say this, we're definitely not a couple that's like a, "Oh, bless the Lord" couple. Like, "Hi, honey, can I, like that kind of sweet down south type of couple you would think of, that's just totally soft voiced and so, but also at the same time We rarely argue. We rarely offend each other.
Yeah.
You know, recently on the podcast, you had to try to think when was the last time I made you cry. You know, it was a struggle to think that. You know, men and women could be like, my spouse made me cry this morning. You know, like I cry 3-4 days a week, not just because I'm sensitive, but because my spouse hurts my feelings. You know, and for me, I tailor my communication style as I've known you. I've known you for 12 years. We've been dating 12 years, married 10 years. I've learned like what hurts your feelings, what doesn't, you know, and so I don't choose the things and the words and the expectations that I know can hurt. Can I hurt your feelings? Yeah, I know what that would look like. I know those words to say that. And I consciously choose not to use them, while also I share when I'm frustrated. I share when, you know, when you have failed me, and you share in return with me when I have it. But you don't say like, Adam, you're the worst, or you're this, or you're that. And we had
a transparent conversation the other day, and you can fill in the blanks, but it was about Matthias, and we were talking about how Matthias, we desire for him to be more aggressive. And I'm trying to figure out as a mom.
He's very passive.
Very passive.
Yeah.
And Adam and I were
polite.
And very, very polite, very sweet. Kid falls on the ground. He wants to pick him up. I'm like,
even on the opposing team.
Go get the ball.
Yeah.
Like,
push that kid on the ground.
Put him down.
Yeah.
But Adam and I were having that honest conversation, because then for me as a mother, being as aggressive and competitive as I am, I know I project that on my kids. And so Adam knows that that's a sensitive and sore spot for me when it comes to my kids, because I've already expressed to him that I know I'm hard on the kids when it comes to sports, or like giving it their all, because it was innately ingrained in me at a young age. And so I'm trying to navigate this avenue with my own son, as far as like, is he gonna ever get it? And you in that moment, because you've seen me, you could have literally tore me down and been like, well, I mean, you yell at the kid pretty much every other day. You beat him. You tell him it's not gonna work. Like, you should probably just focus on being a mother more than just worrying about his. You did not say that. You knew that would totally have broken me. You know that I would have felt guilty, because I already feel that way, because I've expressed that to you about being a mother. Like, I know I'm hard. I know I'm a lot like my dad. I know I'm very reactive, and those are things that I work on. And you bring to light of me of like, hey, that was a little much. But you never go, oh, that was. You don't ever like, you never like condescend me. You never speak down to me. Even when I am wrong, you will correct me in love, knowing that could break me. But you've never been petty enough to been like, that's probably why your son don't listen to you.
Yeah. Right.
Has there ever been, sorry, did not mean
No,
to
go ahead.
Has there ever been a time where you guys did experience that in your marriage, or even dating, where you were just like, oh, like my ego's bruised, I'm going to try to bruise them back because it'll make me feel good in the moment? Or has it always kind of been like, I'm not really that kind of person where I feel the need to hurt my spouse with my words?
I don't even remember. You and I think we're dating. I don't even know if we were dating or we just got engaged. We just married when I made you cry because I said something really mean and I forgot.
Well, no, we were married. I could tell that situation. Yeah. And I think early on,
it was early on. It hasn't been a while.
Well, yeah, and I mean, this verse has been my I've the tattoo I've had over 11 years or 12 years. So, I have tried to be cautious with my words for a fairly long time. And so early on in our marriage, I would make it clear to Ashlee, here's my boundaries. If you cross them, I will take next steps, and when we were dating, next steps was, I got no problem ending this relationship, whether it was a friend she had who was a professional athlete, he was black, very famous. He Ashlee, went and visited him with her parents, and then Ashlee came back and said, yeah, it was fun, and he's silly. He was kind of making fun of you, and because I'm Hispanic. So she's like, he was calling you like a little burrito and like a little enchilada and stuff like that. And I was just like, hey, so, I don't rock with that. So, if you were there and he treated me with respect, even though we never met, then I'd be cool with you having a friendship with him. I said, but he disrespected me with his words. And to me, that shows like a character and that shows who he is. So here's the thing. If you keep being his friend, then I'm just going to have to call this relationship off. It's fine. I'm not telling you to get rid of your friend. I'm just saying that I have more respect for myself. So like all across the line, I've kind of said like, hey, this type of speech I'm not okay with. Mm-hmm. This I am okay with, and vice versa. Ashlee doesn't. She communicates very well now because we've been together. You end up kind of conforming to your spouse in different ways. And so she communicates very well now. But when we first got married, frankly, Ashlee did not communicate well. Everything was a 10, screaming, cussing, everything was a B word. Everything, like when she got mad, it was like when she saw red, and we had just gotten married and, I make it a big point to have accountability, to be faithful, to make sure she knows that I only have eyes for her and all that stuff like that. And so we were on vacation with Nathan and Sanaz, and actually Heron. It was before he was married, even dating Cass, and Heron was with us. So we all went on vacation together, and we were staying at this hotel, and the hotel had a restaurant, and Ashlee was. It was kind of like it was like a bar restaurant. So we're just hanging out and spending time together. And there was a makeup convention in town, and Ashlee was talking to this group of girls and guys, but like makeup artist girls, they're all done up, they're dressed, very, very, provocatively, and just kind of their makeup. So they're in the makeup industry. So they're just, they're overly calling attention to themselves through their appearance. And then I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying like trying to give people a picture of like, they would have been intimidating women to Ashlee. But Ashlee talked to them the whole, like we were there for about 3 hours. Ashlee, because we were right next to them, Ashlee talked to them for because Ashlee will talk to anyone, and I won't talk to anyone. And so she's talking to them for like 2 hours. I never said a single word to them. And I know we've somewhat said this before in the far past, but I didn't say a single word to them. And Ashlee went to go use the restroom, and a girl that was black scooted over, and she was like, oh, you're the husband of Ashlee who we met? I'm like, oh, yeah. She's like, can I ask you a question? My boyfriend's white. We love each other. We're thinking about getting married, but like, I'm just scared that, people aren't going to accept us. And, maybe there might be some racist people out there. And like, have you experienced that? What's the worst version that you've experienced? And then I answered her. I was like, yeah, I mean, yeah. And then Ashlee comes up and she's like, oh, the moment I walk away, all of a sudden, you it just starts using very strong language, like you just trying to get in her pants and this and that, and you couldn't do that when I was around, and then I turned my back, and here you are flirting with that girl, and because the girl like scooted up and like basically replaced Ashlee's seat, but I hadn't spoken to her whole night, and so and Ashlee comes back and she's like, boom, says all this stuff. And then like, yeah, it crushed me. So I went out to the lobby and I started crying, and she followed me, and I was like, no, I've put up with so much. Like, you put your family first before me. You did it. And I just start unloading. See, I tapped into her anger, so then she starts cussing me out. And she's like, I know it's any day before you cheat on me. We're like married 3 months. I know it's any day before you cheat on me, and I know you're looking for any opportunity to get some and this and that. And then at that time she was struggling with intimacy. And so I'm like, you don't even want to sleep with me.
Those poor employees blah, blah, blah. In that lobby were like,
well, and then
so then Nathan and Sanaz are like, you gotta go. They're like, we need to go to, no, they're like, you need to go to the room and handle this. You need to go, like, you got to get it. This is embarrassing. And we're like, fine. We go to the room and we're still, and then someone knocks on our door and they're like, you need to keep it down. And I'm like, man, you can get some too. Get in this room. I mean, like, I'm like,
crazy.
And I don't normally talk like that.
No,
I'm very quiet. Choose to like not be an annoyance to anyone. I don't like causing a scene whatsoever. And I'm literally like, man, get in this room. I'll beat you up too. What do you know, like this guy, and it's like, and Heron's there, and Heron's like, yeah, bro, you probably should we're sorry. I'll try to control it. Cause we were just yelling. We were cussing each other out and yelling at each other and all this stuff like that. And, I basically told her, I was like, the next day I was like, if you ever, talk to me like that again, I will either separate from you, or we're gonna have to go to therapy. But I said I won't go into the rest of my life with this type of language with each other. So I said, Bible says that we can't divorce, but it says nothing about me not living with you. So I'll get a separate apartment. I'll be celibate the rest of my life, but I'll be danged if I be talked to that way, and vice versa. I didn't talk to you well either in return. Mm-hmm. And because that day was so embarrassing and so pivotal, it set the trajectory that like any argument or any disrespect I could say me and Ashlee have had since. That was 10 years ago. We got married in October. I think this happened in January of 2016. Mm-hmm. And so that was so embarrassing and such a big deal. And you're only married 3 months. So it's not like we're on year 5. Right. It's not like we've added kids to the mix. I mean, it's like, we're supposed to be in our honeymoon phase and we're in our worst phase of our life. And I'm mad at God. Because I'm like, God, like, why you give me this girl who's got like all this anger issues and all, like I didn't sign up for this.
Right.
And then you're angry because my community brought a lot of baggage of stuff that brought a lot of insecurities out of you. And so then you're just mad about the overall circumstance. Mm-hmm. And that early on, we realized like, oh, like we could ruin each other with our words.
100%. And
you realized more than anything, because for the 2 years you knew me, you never saw me get angry.
No.
Like you never saw me raise my voice.
I'm like, you need to calm down.
Yeah.
Calm down.
And the best way Nathan can ever explain it is he just goes, like if we're ever telling a story and they're like, how mad was Adam that day? And he goes, if you ever seen the Jersey Shore with Ronnie when he loses it, he was like, Adam was that to the same degree. It's like he was Ronnie. And they, for like years, they would like, if I kind of started getting upset about something, they'd be like, hey, Ronnie.
Hey, Ronnie.
Like they haven't said it in years, but they're like, Ronnie, because for Ashlee, she was like, oh, there's like this side of Adam that is like, it had never been shown since,
Yeah, no.
But that's how much her words broke me. She questioned my faithfulness, which is a big deal to me. Mm-hmm. She questioned my character, of what I would do when she's not in the room.
Oh yeah, I went for everything.
Yeah, she went for everything. So for me, it was just like, I drew a boundary that day. She drew a boundary that day, let me know what she wasn't comfortable with from the things that I said. And I just made a commitment from there that like, if we ever did not work out in our marriage, I'm never going to be able to say it's not because I didn't do everything I could do to love her. Well, whatever she does is what she does. So, from that day on, if she wanted to continue to go through my phone and my computer and question my motives that's on her. Mm-hmm. She's going to have to live with that. She's going to have to go through her own personal hell of trust. And if she don't want to heal, then that's on her. I made that decision. Like, I'm not responsible for her, but I am responsible for me. So if I control me, if one day we didn't work out, I can never say, not that I'm perfect or anything, but I can never say, well, Adam, you could have given an extra 20% and you might have, maybe you would have been I would have said, I did.
But in controlling yourself, you didn't either like go into a hermit crab shell and just not been Adam. You know what I mean? So I think that's where a lot of people too are like, you know what? I'll just shut up. I'll just be quiet.
Yeah, I don't want to rustle.
You know what? There she goes. Let me just be quiet. I'd rather just not deal with it. And it's like, no, we still have good conversations and healthy conversations and hard conversations that are necessary. Neither of us still back down from a conversation that we're going to have because we still are very passionate people. I'm more opinionated. And so you're more passion. So I'll have an opinion, you'll have passion. And then we have to come to an even ground or unity on like, okay, are we really hearing each other? Or are we just trying to be heard?
Yeah.
So I think we don't ever go into a conversation of, I'm going to be heard in this conversation. It's, are we hearing each other?
For sure. Yeah. And,
because I will ask you, like, does that make sense? Majority of the time, if we get in a conversation, I'll say, does that make sense? Would I say, does that make sense? And then you'll say, yes, it makes sense, but, or here's the thing, like you will add on if it does make sense, but then you'll also allow yourself to have your thoughts. And then I'll be like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
We're never one trying to one up. Like if I like, did that make sense? You'll be like, no, it doesn't. And I don't care to listen for it.
Yeah, for sure. Or like. And then on top of that, like, it's just, I wouldn't be good with being in an environment that like just disrespects each other regularly, like, and you and I have done enough counseling with people, like those environments that are like, you're so fat, be quiet. You're so fat,
we don't, the name calling, like ours is like, we're goofy, but like when it comes, that's one thing I will say that I'm not okay with, like, is if Adam and I were to get in a disagreement or something like that, and then he walks away and you guys just go separate ways, be like, you're so stupid, you're a bum, you're lazy, you know what, you're gross. Yeah. Like that will absolutely not come out of my mouth.
For sure.
Towards you, because those were, although you got your argument across or your disagreement across, once you start name calling, you can't get that back.
Well, yeah, then
you can go back to a conversation and then try to figure it out. You can't get back name calling.
Yes, and you can say it, but when the forest is on fire, you can't now just think, oh, well, let's just call Pastor Adam and Ashlee and see if they can put a sprinkler on it. It's like, It's like if you're not willing, the scripture I read of the tongue can set fire of a forest, just like a small match can. Like, there's so many times we'll sit with people and they want to put water out on a bush that's on fire, but the forest is on fire. And it's like, hey, if you're not willing to change how you talk to each other, how you approach conflict, how you respect one another. Well, he's not worthy of respect. He's trash. He's, can you believe, he has a past or whatever, or she has a past. And it's like, well, you chose to stay, and you're choosing to continue to work on it. And so if every time you're losing an argument or you want to make the other person hurt and boom, you pull up past baggage, you pull up their pain, you pull up their insecurities, and that's why your mom this, or that's why your dad this, or then all I say is like, don't be surprised when the whole thing's on fire. Don't be surprised when it bleeds into your children. Don't be surprised when it bleeds into your extended family. Don't be surprised when it bleeds to the end of the marriage. All of that and a lot of times what we'll ask when we do counseling is we'll say, what is the end result you want of this? We talk about it all the time, because whatever the end result is, your words need to follow what you want to be resolved. And so what I'm looking for the person to say is, I want at the end of this a healthy marriage. Because when you and I got in that fight in that hotel lobby, restaurant, room, staircase, elevator, then the next day I resolved and I said, God, I want a healthy marriage. Mm-hmm. That's what I want. I didn't say, God, I want her to think that I'll never cheat on her. God, I want her to change her words about me or whatever, or vice versa. I said, God, I just want a healthy marriage, and I'll work backwards from that, but I'll do anything for that. That's what I want. Right. And
because I think even when you're making that statement, like it's really good because you got to reflect to say like, okay, you said, I don't want, you didn't pray for God. Allow Ashlee to not ever think that I would cheat on her. You can do that all day. That's an action that you can take. But until I'm willing to heal, until I'm willing to reflect, until I'm willing to address that thought, and that it's always going to be there.
For sure. And at the end of the day, that is even without you ever experiencing, the amount of unfaithfulness you had in previous relationships, also has nothing to do with the fact that is also still a natural insecurity. So even for someone who has only ever seen great relationships, doesn't mean that there isn't always a natural feeling of like, oh man, I pray that my spouse stays faithful. Like that's a natural fear, not fear, but a natural thought that you could have. Right. And so for me to be like, God, I don't want Ashlee ever to think I would cheat on her. Well, the reality is like, that might not ever be removed, even for someone who's never experienced pain. You could get to a point of you could have never experienced, that in previous relationships, but you could experiencing after your children, your body changing, your what your personal beauty standards are, and social media, what's on TikTok, and you could think, oh, I hope my husband still loves me. I hope my husband still. So for me to just be like, God, I don't ever want to hear from my wife that she, questions, my motives of my relation. Well, that's not realistic. Like you're going to have thoughts of insecurities. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, what I can hope for is say, God, I pray we're healthy. And what precedes healthiness? Well, what precedes healthiness is a great communication, a great intimacy, a great bond, a great friendship. There's so many things that I'm like, okay,
teamwork,
all of that. Well, that I can control. Yeah. I can't control a thought of Ashlee's. Yeah. I can't control a bad day of hers, but I can control, my conduct, my speech. I can control me telling my wife I think she's beautiful, affirming her in areas. I love your body, this, that, or the other. Like I can do my part and affirm areas as the husband by using my words, using my actions, all that stuff to help. And then at the end of the day, if you still choose not, well, then that's balls on my wife's court. Yep. And I need to amplify it to the degree that I need to. Is it counseling? Is it therapy? Is it, what is it that I need to do to amplify to try to help my spouse, get better? But yeah, I mean, it also doesn't mean that you have to be a punching bag at the same time. Right.
Absolutely. Just to keep peace in your home.
Yeah.
I'll take the hits as long as she's happy, or she'll take the hits as long as he's happy, as long as there's no arguing, as long as there's no cussing, fighting, door slamming.
When you just think about like what environment are our children being, raised in that. It's one thing to be a snarky household, which we are. Like Very. You and I will call each other bums, our sons will call us bums. Our
mama.
Yeah. Thomas called me a big back the other day. So I mean, we're not just like, okay, nice things only. Like we clown each other. We, there's humor and everything. Hey, get out the car, big head. Like it's that. But there's love in that. There's a difference. So I'm not saying like, oh, your home should just be all like sweet little like, hey, beautiful, hey, my gorgeous, here. Yeah. But it's learning each other. Because if at any point if I ever said something,
well, I know,
I know
I'd be like, because your boys even do it. Like if I get dressed and Alizé's probably heard it too before. The boys will be like, Alizé or Mommy, you look so pretty today, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
you didn't hear that from your dad. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Dummy, she's stupid.
See, I can't even.
Thomas will say that in one breath, and then the next he's like,
man.
Stinky doo-doo booger head.
Yeah,
like,
right,
what?
right.
What?
Which one is it? Am I pretty or booger head? Right. Right. But I want you to know you still can get it.
You big-headed big bag.
Right.
No,
but you're gorgeous.
When you had Otter Pops the other day, and you had an Otter Pop, and he's like, oh, you big back. I'm like, they're literally 10 calories. Like, you don't even get right. A little popsicle.
And then I'll be like, dude, you're a big bag. And then he'll be like, I got muscles.
And then he'll start doing push-ups. I'm like, okay, go somewhere, Thomas.
Anyways, it was a great conversation.
That's good.
Yeah.
Hey, we're on.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Let's just land it. Let's land the plane. Let's go. Thanks for joining us, everybody. God bless.
Bye.